Hey, so I just saw a reel from someone else talking about empaths and the idea of protecting our energy. And it inspired me to make this video because so many things that we talk about in the spiritual world or concepts that we talk about spiritually or even physically in the physical world, we don't really understand them and how to apply them. And this is one of the beautiful things for me about five-bodied living, because we're looking at everything in our life through the lens of the five bodies: the physical, emotional, mental, energetic, and archetypal. Now, you may have heard of the first four. Archetypal is less known about. It's one that comes from possibility management. And it's basically when we have our other four bodies in balance, our archetypal can come in. And it's about embodiment. So but the archetypal body is the one that governs our purpose, our true purpose. It's what connects us to Gaia, to the earth, and to the universe, and lets us really tap into what is my higher purpose here. So I want to talk about boundaries specifically, because this is a concept that is thrown around so much. Everyone's talking about boundaries at the moment. Everyone's working on their boundaries. And often it's really hard to ground. It's really hard to put into practice. And even when we do, we find it challenged over and over and over again. So the beauty of the five-bodied living is that it meets us in all of our aspects, and then everything becomes a bit easier, because you might be setting physical boundaries, like raising your standards, saying what's acceptable for you, but maybe your energetic boundaries are still really loose, and so you're still being affected all the time by other things happening. Maybe your mental boundaries are really loose, so you're really scattered, and you're being affected by all different parts of your, self-talk and all these different things happening inside of your system. And then you're expected to, on the physical level, have strong boundaries with your partner or with your children. It doesn't work that way. So when we're working with five-bodied living, we're seeing how can each of the bodies support each other. And that's really to bring them into alignment. So specifically for boundaries, I would probably start first with the emotional body, because anger is responsible for our boundaries. It tells us when our boundaries are being met or being crossed. And it also gives us the energy to set a boundary. It helps us hold our center, which is what you need to set a boundary. It helps you to say it in a clean way. If you've cleaned out your emotional body, you've separated the fear from the anger, then you can use your anger just to set the boundary. And once you've done that emotional work, then bringing that into the physical is much easier. I would probably also look at where am I loose on my own boundaries, the boundaries of my inner world, the boundaries on my mind. When is my mental body being overloaded by the child voice or the parent voice, and cleaning that out, setting boundaries for myself, setting boundaries on my energetic body, doing energy practices to set my bubble, to find my center, have my grounding cord, make sure that I am strong in my being so that my energy isn't scattered all over the place. And then setting a physical boundary is just going to come naturally. It's just what's going to flow. And when it doesn't, I'll be using my anger to notice much more and more subtle levels. When are my boundaries being met, and how do I set my boundary without pushing back and attacking? So this is all like cleaning and balancing and aligning all of the bodies. And then once we do that, then you're a clear channel. So then your archetypal body can just come in and do its work, which is what it's here to do. Often our boundaries, when we feel anger, we're feeling the anger because our boundaries are being crossed, and they're stopping our archetypal body from really coming in. Our energy is being given to the wrong places. We're being pulled all over the place. We're being challenged. We're being overridden. Our truth isn't being listened to. All of these kind of things that really, what makes it feel so uncomfortable and like, no, that's not we know that's not what I want. My anger is telling me that's not what I want, because it's not allowing a space for my archetypal body to come in. So that's a brief understanding of how we would use five-bodied living to really embody boundaries in a much deeper way and in a much more sustainable way and longer lasting way to really get results.